Die Another Day is the biggest piece of fucking shit. Hey everyone, like this video, subscribe below, leave a comment, tip your waitress, don't get cocky. Always have an escape plan. Do you expect me to subscribe? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to play Raid Shadow Legends. Also, go to curiositystream.com where you can learn how to use the link in the description to make a website with Squarespace. Use the code SHILL176956 to get 6.8% off your Dollar Shave Club account. Die Another Day is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen.
Who sent you?
Your mama.
It's bad. Everyone involved should feel bad, and questions should be asked in Congress. If you disagree with me on this, you are objectively wrong, and you have doomed your offspring to 1,000 years of failure for how incorrect you are in your opinion. Which is wrong because it's different from my opinion. Okay, with that settled, let's talk about this piece of shit. After the Soviet Union was bought out by Pizza Hut,
Это Горбачев.
Горбачев?
Это из-за него у нас в экономике бардак.
Да благодаря ему у нас есть писахат.
За Горбачева!
people started questioning if James Bond was still relevant, even though James Bond had only squared off against the Soviet Union a grand total of maybe 3 times across the entire series. Let's see, there was that time he blew up a Soviet embassy. There was that time he thought he was fighting the Soviets, but they just kind of showed up at the end. And there was that time he shot up a chemical weapons lab like it was an American high school. But as a series, James Bond has always avoided directly blaming a government or foreign country for any of the bad things that were happening in the movie. Is the Soviet Union about to invade Western Europe? No, that was just a crazy general.
The West is decadent and divided.
Soviets planning the assassination of every MI6 agent?
Secret directive from Pushkin. Smirt Spionam.
Death to spies, Minister.
Nope, just a few bad apples.
2 of our agents are dead.
My condolences. We had nothing to do with it.
Then in 1995, GoldenEye came out. We are here today to honor the achievements of the film GoldenEye. And the winner of the 1995 Nobel Prize in Literature and Peace, GoldenEye. For this one, I could easily talk about GoldenEye and how great it was, and how great Sean Bean is, and how great Pierce Brosnan is, and how amazing Judi Dench is.
I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur.
But I'm not going to do any of that, because I just talked for a really long time about 2 movies I really like. So now, I have to pay the piper. I need to talk about a bad film, but not just a bad film. I need to talk about Die Another Day. The horrible, terrible, racist, ridiculous, badly shot, poorly edited war crime of a film. The Brosnan era of films are tracked on a curve. At the top you have GoldenEye, which might be the best James Bond film ever made. Then you have Tomorrow Never Dies, which is good if you watch it as like a satire of cable news. Then you have The World Is Not Enough, which is almost interesting, right up until the point Denise Richards ruins it with her terrible acting.
But the world's greatest terrorist running around with 6 kilos of weapons-grade plutonium can't be good. I have to get it back, or somebody's gonna have my ass.
First things first.
But then, down here, at the bottom of the asymptote, place that doesn't even fucking exist in mathematics, you have Die Another Day. This movie is the worst thing that ever happened to James Bond. Maybe the worst thing that ever happened in any film series ever. It was directed by a guy named Lee Tamahori. It's bad. I have no idea where to even start with this one. My usual format is to describe the plot and interject some humor and analysis into key points, and then to cleanly sum it up at the end. But I have no idea how to clean this mess up, you guys. It's not just a mess in terms of plot or acting. I can handle that. But the basic elements of production are just so terrible that I don't even know how to describe them. I mean, I'm not a film student, I have no idea what good cinematography is, but I'm pretty sure it's not this. Right from the opening, we feel something's off. Ah! Oh my god! Ah! I've been shot! Help! Life alert! I mean, what the fuck was that? Who thought this was a good idea? So the movie starts with James Bond and 2 other guys surfing into North Korea, and they hijack a helicopter. How did you do that? Why did they land in an empty field? They had to know that's not where they were going. Then James Bond loads the suitcase up with explosives and goes to meet a North Korean guy who wants to sell him weapons for the diamonds. Why does this guy need diamonds in North Korea, I hear you asking? That's a great question I'm not prepared to answer. So I won't. But it doesn't matter because everything starts blowing up. James Bond embeds some diamonds in this guy's face. I'm pretty sure that if someone set off C4 explosives and it caused diamonds to become fragmentary projectiles, they wouldn't stop at just the surface of your skin. Diamonds are really fucking hard. They'll rip your fucking face off, and take the rest of your head too. So then James Bond escapes on a hovercraft over a minefield, and then he kills the North Korean guy he was sent to kill, so it all works out.
My son is dead.
Then we get the title sequence. James Bond is being tortured in a North Korean prison by being forced to listen to Madonna. I'm gonna congratulate myself for that very original joke. So then a year and change later, James Bond gets taken to a prisoner exchange because M and Allstate Mayhem think he talked. They trade him for Zhao, who still has the fucking diamonds embedded in his face. Like, there wasn't one doctor or prison guard the whole time he was in custody that was like, hey buddy, maybe we should take those diamonds out of your face. So then he gets sedated and taken to a medical ship where M tells him that she's very disappointed in him. He freaks out so much he has a fucking fit and jumps over the side of the boat, swims 20 miles to shore and books a room at a hotel. He shaves his beard, and with that, 14 months of scorpions and Madonna torture in a North Korean prison are forgotten. The movie never brings it up again, so neither will I. He decides he's gonna kill Diamond Face. He goes to Cuba, now as a rogue agent. And unlike License to Kill, where Bond going rogue actually had an impact on the story, here he's just doing business as usual, because this particular bad guy is just too bad to let anyone else kill. But first, he has to creep on Halle Berry.
So what do predators do when the sun goes down?
They feast like there's no tomorrow.
That is the most romantic thing I've ever heard.
Then he finds Diamond Face in a hospital. It's been a year. Take the goddamn diamonds out of your face. You could get those things out with some goddamn tweezers. They fight, then James Bond takes this guy's necklace, then Halle Berry shoots up the hospital, then she jumps in the ocean from way up high, then James Bond goes back to London. So the necklace was full of diamonds, and the diamonds are conflict diamonds linked to Gustav Graves, who is an Icelandic billionaire who found a bunch of diamonds a year ago in Iceland, but before that didn't exist. Okay, so obviously that's all bullshit. I don't have time to break down all the things wrong with this, just because we haven't really gotten to the real meat of this review, but trust me when I say, that's all bullshit, okay? Okay. Bond goes back to London where he promptly shoots his boss.
You might mention it, 007, but a perfect marksman isn't really supposed to shoot his own boss.
Why have this? This is all so pointless. I'm just gonna skip this. Does anyone care? Does anyone really give a shit about the scene where James Bond plays Call of Duty on the holodeck? But then Bond has to go to Graves' country club where he meets... Oh, god damn it.
You killed my father. Prepare to die. Stop saying that!
Bond and Miranda Frost are sent to Iceland to figure out what Graves is up to. Surprisingly, he tells them on the first night. It's a big fuck you doomsday satellite.
I give you Icarus!
Fuck, turn that bloom up more. Just fuck up my eyes. He says he wants to bring sunlight to the polar ice cap so people can grow crops in Iceland. It's phrased in the movie like it's brilliant. This man is declaring war on nighttime. I'm not a scientist, but I'm pretty sure that if you shine sunlight down on the polar ice caps all day, you're gonna have a problem. I could maybe understand people liking it if it was just a regular sunlight, but it's like this shitty overexposed sunlight. We need more exposure. More, goddammit. James Bond doesn't even put on his sunglasses, so he and Halle Berry get their fucking retinas burnt out. Oh, also Halle Berry is here?
I take it Mr. Bond's been explaining his Big Bang Theory.
Oh, yeah, I think I got the thrust of it.
I see.
Halle Berry is playing like an NSA agent, but I'm pretty sure the NSA are the people who sit at computers all day and see what kind of porn you're watching, not carrying out assassinations around the world. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Lee Tamahori just wanted to have a different US agency. But the NSA is like the worst agency. Couldn't you have picked something cooler like the US Postal Inspection Service?
Listen, no matter what they think I've done here, it happened in Canada. So it's none of your business.
Except your victims are in the US? And you use the US mail to get to them. That makes it my business.
We're extraditing you to the US to face mail fraud charges. Well, plenty of time to sort it all out.
About 10 years.
Let's go, Park. Yeah, see you in court.
The NSA sucks. You know what? Screw it. This is a video about how bad the NSA is now. But this is like the third or fourth time Bond has had to deal with a doomsday satellite, so at this point he's pretty on top of it. Now, it's quite subtle, but here's where the movie homages Goldfinger. Except in that movie, where James Bond has to use his intelligence and charisma to bluff his way out of a bad situation, in this one, he just has to punch a guy. And that's when Bond reveals the big twist. Gustav Graves is Colonel Moon. You know, the guy from the beginning.
So you live to die another day, Colonel.
At last. I was beginning to think you'd never guess.
Like a lot of elements of this film, this is an homage to a previous Bond film, Dr. No, where Asian characters were portrayed by white actors. But that's when Miranda Frost reveals an even bigger twist. She was working for Graves the entire time. Dun dun dun. I feel so bad for Rosamund Pike. She's a really good actor. But this movie, man, I don't know. I feel like this movie put her career on pause for like 15 years. Bond escapes in the rocket car. When Graves declares war on Night, he really went all in. What in the hell is this shot? It looks like a fucking Spy Kids movie.
Turn this off.
This takes the cake for worst use of CGI. Just slap fucking CGI Jar Jar Binks over this and you get a scene collectively worse than all of the Star Wars prequels. At least those are good for some memes.
Hello there.
This is just a nightmare I want to forget. And this looks like he landed on a set out of a Star Trek episode. It all just looks so fake. Now, if you're a dipshit, you might say, but Todd, the Sean Connery movies look fake too. Here are the two reasons you're fucking stupid. One, my name isn't Todd. Two, they weren't trying to look fake. They just lacked the technology to make them look as good as something like GoldenEye. But guess what? We have GoldenEye now. Even the Sean Connery movies look better than this. This is just all so regressive while at the same time trying to be progressive. It's a complete paradox. Stand back or you might collapse the fabric of reality. So then James Bond gets into his invisible car. I hear a lot of people blame this car as the reason this movie was poorly received. Like, what the fuck? No, this movie was poorly received because it was poorly directed, badly written, and lacked all originality and fun. What the fuck? Like, take this scene. You have this great sweeping shot of the cars in this frozen landscape. It's beautiful. Except the fucking director decided to edit in this bullshit sped up frame rate shit. Even when this movie could do something right, it still fucks it up. It could have every advantage in the world and it would still be shit because of how bad the director is. But it didn't have every advantage. Someone had a bad idea, it was brought together by a lot of bad decision making and shit out by a bad director. It's just a cascade of shit from start to finish. The car chase is the one scene in the film I actually like. There's a lot of explosions. Like, it looks good. Like, they actually filmed something. And Halle Berry isn't in it, so I'm reasonably happy. Ah, shit. The Americans try to shoot Icarus down with a missile, but Icarus shoots the missile down. Or, hear me out. You could shoot two missiles at it from opposite directions at the same time. So even if it shoots one missile down, the second missile will hit it before it has a chance to reposition. Here, let me just draw a diagram. Or if that one doesn't work, maybe you could try this. Or maybe this one. Or this one. Or this one. Or maybe even this one. Graves is flying on a plane and he's got all the North Korean generals with him, and he's got his RoboCop cosplay on. Previous Bond films have tried to avoid attaching any kind of direct blame to a real country. Usually Spectre or some crazy rich guy is causing all the problems. The closest they ever came was in License to Kill, where Sanchez had turned a country into his own personal narco state. Here, they try to straddle the line of not blaming North Korea, but also not blaming them, if you know what I mean. They try to make it out like the general doesn't want war, and this is all Graves' fault, but everyone else seems completely on board with this. Then they turn on the Doomsday satellite. So then, Halle Berry and James Bond take wingsuits to the plane, and they steer it into the Icarus death beam, only instead of earlier, where it seemed like it would vaporize you, here the plane is built out of fucking adamantium or some bullshit. Like, the plane is still flying. Like, wouldn't the fuel explode the whole aircraft? None of this movie makes any sense.
Oh, look! Parachutes for the both of us! Whoops! Not anymore!
You know what? Fuck this movie. We're done. I'm calling it. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm not going to subject myself to any more of this shit. Let's wrap it up. So by now you've probably figured out that this movie is a carbon copy of Diamonds Are Forever. And at first I'm like, yeah, if you're going to remake something, at least remake the shitty one and try to make it better. But somehow they made it worse. Way worse. Does James Bond being tortured affect the story? Nope. Does Bond going rogue affect the story? Nope. Does shooting M affect the story? Nope. So then why do they include it? This is my anti-Living Daylights. Whenever I'm stressed or having a bad day, I watch this movie to remind me that things could always be much, much worse. I guess I have to say something nice, or at least constructive about this movie. You have like 1/3 of a Roger Moore film in here. Like, you can see where they were trying to go with it. The problem with that, problem implies is just one. One of the many problems with that is that Pierce Brosnan is not the natural comedian Roger Moore was. You have these actors who get cast in these traditionally serious roles, but who were later discovered to be really talented comedic actors as well.
General, there's a bomb in that cannon.
People like Roger Moore, like Chris Hemsworth, like Emilia Clarke if she ever returns my calls. That's not Pierce Brosnan. He's too strict, he's not self-aware at all. Another problem is the rampant use of CGI. Let me tell you why James Bond and CGI don't mix. In a James Bond movie, the stunts are very important. Like, even if the story sucks, it's still really impressive that a guy actually jumped off the Eiffel Tower. That's why people like those Mission Impossible movies. You don't go to see the story. I don't even know any of these characters' names. I've seen them all, and I still call the Simon Pegg character Simon Pegg. Like, if the story is good, that's great, but people go to these movies to see Tom Cruise try to kill himself for 2.5 hours.
Like, holy shit.
If you just made it all in CGI, it would suck all of the tension and creativity and passion out of it.
The audience can tell when something's been cheated, so it's important to be doing it all for real.
And that's exactly what happens in Die Another Day. This movie has no passion. There was no real understanding of the James Bond movies that they were trying to emulate because these people had no idea what they were doing. They take all of these aesthetic elements from the previous movies and try to construct a movie around them, but all they did was annoy me. The plot is recycled from Diamonds Are Forever, except that movie has originality and humor.
Stop him, Harry.
And this one has Madonna.
Do you mind?
I think I hate James Bond now. Like, I hate him after watching this movie. I want him to go away, kill him off or something. I just don't want him to be around anymore. Like, we're done. Fuck this movie.
Will you please leave, you irritating man?